What's up, guys? Welcome to Operation B, the podcast. I am your host, Jamie Thurber, and I am here to take you on a journey of deepening, of expansion, of understanding more about who you are and why you're here and how to operate in an optimal way that allows you to do what you want to do, feel how you want to feel, take care of yourself truly, and support everything that your heart desires. Hey guys, welcome back to Operation B. I have some fun things to share with you today, as you may have already noticed. I wasn't going to start with explaining where I am, but it probably makes the most sense to making you wait as we go on. But I was thinking about the way that the show has been going, and we started having guests. So you've been seeing those episodes along with my solo episodes that I'm filming in my home studio too. And I've been getting great feedback. And I thought, you know what? Because I set up this space that's my own set that I'm pretty obsessed with it. I'm not going to lie. Like, so cool. And love this color of the wall. The chairs are so comfortable. I'm very excited. And so with that, I thought, okay, let's do our solo this week here so I can introduce you to some new things. And I'm actually going to give you a bit of a life update. It's been a long time since I've done something like that. Actually, since we started Operation B and we made the switch from lifestyle creations. So that was, I don't even know how many months ago, 9 months ago, maybe. So giving you just an update kind of what's going on. And one of the reasons I started the podcast to begin with was the fact that I have a lot of words to say and doing it in a live stream or God forbid now in a reel with that short time period or my long written form, I just figured I wanted another way to talk to you guys and be able to share things, and be able to share insights. And then it's evolved. And as it's evolved, bringing in guests allows me to show you some of my favorite people and people I admire and people that I think you can learn things from. And so it's just been fun for me. I take this very personally, the way that I handle what I'm saying and how I'm producing it. So it's nice, and it feels like a family to me, whether you're sitting in this room with me or not. It definitely feels that way. So that's what we're going to do today. I'm going to give you a little life update, but I will start with where I'm sitting. So you've seen some of my other episodes with guests. I've done them, and then the one we did the recap, we've done them actually in a very similar set to Ashley Malin's show because we film in the same room. And the more that I realize, and this is a fun lesson for anybody, but especially a lot of us whose job and focus is to always care for other people, and it's a very natural thing for us, I decided that I wanted to do that set and just switch the chairs because it was the easiest option for everyone involved. Not really me. It was just to make it easier on the guys so I could film on Fridays when I was here with Ashley and we didn't have to switch much. And then I was watching the episodes back and I'm like, I do not like the way this set looks. It's great for her and it's beautiful and it's on brand for her because we designed it for her. And so it made me start thinking about, you know what, I'm allowed to do, figure out what I want it to look like. And so I bought the chairs and the rug and the set, and then we were messing with it in this room and found out this little beautiful nook here. Sam's idea, and it is perfect. So I'm like giddy, you guys. I was giddy. I was talking about it like I do to my dogs, and I'm like, are you so excited? That's how I was feeling in the room that day. So the team here got to know that side of me pretty quickly, but I was excited to film in here and then just kind of let you know what's been going on. So as far as health stuff goes, so that's been a part of the conversation for a long time, obviously. You guys know I took a break for a long time because everything had gotten so much worse. And I've been working with Dr. Olivia Joseph and Dr. Jason Hammond, who was here as a guest on the last episode. And he's been helping me with a lot of my pain. And then she's helping with new functional medicine. During that, we found a lot of changes that were needed within the way my body was utilizing nutrition. And so I'm not going to go super deep into that, but I'm going to let you know that as we've been increasing, like obviously not only am I filming here periodically, but I'm also leaving the house once or twice a week to go work somewhere and to be out of that space. Whereas in like 6 months ago, for me to be away from the house for very long was not possible. I would leave dinners early. Or schedule like 4:30 dinner reservations, like those kinds of things. By the end of the day, I'd be so depleted. For me to tell you that I'm not still getting depleted would be a lie. It's just shifted a bit. And we'll talk a little bit more about what I've been able to accomplish which I never thought I'd be able to do again here in a minute. But I wanted to say this part to the people who I know are listening that go through this roller coaster ride the same way that I do when it comes to your health and how you're feeling. And I remember my therapist was telling me, she was like, Jamie, it's very normal for you to not feel amazing every single day. Like, that's not the goal. And I remember thinking, like, what? Other people don't feel that way? And she was like, no, that's not how other people feel. Like, everybody, some have good days and bad days. I didn't know about that. I didn't know if that was a thing or not. So for me to have the ability to realize and like make my mind go around the fact that I was not necessarily looking for quote unquote perfection or every day, like the goal wasn't to feel great every single day. It was to learn to be able, as my coach tells me, is to titrate through those peaks and valleys as they happen all day long. And so with that being said, I've actually been able to start to do that. And then I've stepped into a different role in a company that's allowed me to really put a lot of that to test. And the interesting piece of that has been I was feeling really, really good. When I say that, like better than I had in years for a while. And then it got not good again. And I know why, and it made sense, and the stress levels and the output had changed, and I was having a hard time with food again. As you guys know, that's like an ongoing thing. When you've been chronically nauseous the majority of your adult life, especially, food and you have a weird relationship. So with those things, but what I was able to do is advocate for myself in an even more honest way. And so that was my main point of wanting to share this with you, is that there were moments that I said to my doctor or said to whoever, like, I can't do that because I'm not willing to put my body through that. For example, when I get blood drawn, I usually, if I'm not in a good, steady state when I do that, I'm going to feel down for several days after the fact. So this last time around, I was in the middle of dealing with a bunch of stuff. I wasn't feeling good. And it was time for blood work. And I said, I don't feel comfortable putting my body through that right now. And they were like, okay. Now, back in the day, even 4 months ago, 5 months ago, I would have felt, and I feel a little anxiety, honestly, just even retelling you that story, but I would have felt there was just no way I would have made that decision for myself. I would have definitely continued, like I felt bad for my doctor. What has nothing to do with her? She doesn't mind, it's up to me. And so being able to advocate in those ways and not beat yourself up in your head about it after the fact is huge. That in itself is big. And that's a layer of chronic illness that a lot of people, unless you've experienced it yourself or intimately, like Tony has with me, and he talked about on the episode we did together, it's hard to comprehend really how that affects that piece of you that always feels bad about everything or will put yourself, in a bind just to not inconvenience someone else. So that has shown me my ability to regulate, which has been enlightening to say the least. It's been encouraging because even when I have had bad days or I have had like full body panic attacks that have happened again in the evenings, they're faster. Like it doesn't drag out for days. It doesn't cause me not to be able to function for a long period of time, those kind of things. And then if I do, like one of the days I was supposed to be on a morning show I had to be here at 6:30 a.m. to be on the show, and it was the night before. And Tony came because he was going to be with me, so he, salvaged the show for her, which was great. But I didn't feel bad about that. Like I wanted to come. I felt annoyed that there was yet another thing that I had to miss out on because of my health. But I didn't feel guilty or bad, which I used to would have beat myself up about it. So that in itself is massive. That's a huge shift and change, and it's something that if I could give a gift to people who've dealt with sickness, that would be it. Like I wish that more people could know that that's possible and give themselves some grace until they've created enough space in their minds and in their lives and, understanding with their bodies that they can let themselves do that and that it's okay. So we are still over a year out from our wedding, to shift gears a little bit. So me and Tony are getting married in November of 2026. So that's exciting. I am going to go try on wedding dresses in a couple of weeks. And most of the important stuff is booked. So a lot of people ask me about that. It feels like we've been engaged forever. Well, we've been together forever. So it doesn't mean anything to me. So a lot of the most important parts are taken care of. Tony's son is getting married soon, so that's really where my head's at as far as wedding stuff goes at the moment. And then I don't know, maybe it'll feel more exciting and real like once we do dresses. I don't know. But that's where we're at. There's not a whole lot to report there because we still have a whole lot of time, which is exciting for me because if I'm going to continue down this trajectory of feeling better, that was the whole goal of pushing it out the way that we did, was so that I could get to a place where I could be well the entire day for my wedding. But everything with him is going well. Business is crazy busy for him, and we navigate life in a way that I don't think other people are always okay with. People think it's odd the way that we operate together, but it works really, really well. And what I mean when I say that is we don't see each other all that much. We don't spend a ton of time together one-on-one, especially recently with things that have been going on in his company. And because I have my own stuff happening all the time too, it doesn't cause a rift. And when I need him, he stops what he's doing and comes. And when he needs me, I stop what I'm doing and go. And so it allows us to have a really beautiful harmony kind of in our relationship. And I think about it all the time because it is unique. And I wish that it wasn't. I wish that everybody, more people could establish that kind of relationship for themselves with other people and just know how much more of a gift it could be and how much more free you could feel in your own relationship if you could create those things. But you guys need to let me know if you think that's interesting. So if you want to learn more about things with Tony and I, like I know he'd be willing to come in more often. We'd have to get bigger chairs because he's going to break this chair if I have him come sit in one of these probably. But if you guys like that, comment and let me know, and we will schedule some more stuff with Tony, maybe even do some Q&A or something like that. That would be fun. So as far as our home life, that's where we're at. I am still coaching. I am still working with business owners, and most of them actually right now I've had. So I think the newest has been 2 years, a little over 2 years, and the others have been 5, 6, and 8 years almost. So it's exciting. It's exciting to watch them level up. And while I was able to continue working with them through being sick and everything, because they're not energy leaks for me. They're actually giving in and filling up my cup while I'm giving to them every single week. And so it's been fun. Like one of them bought a house and is turning it into a salon and moving her salon out of the place she is now into a place that's 3 times as big. That's huge. The other bought a whole city block and is filling all those buildings with employees and room to repair vehicles. And that's massive. And he's killing it. And then another bought a second home and is living in different parts of the country. The other is starting a new program for her clients. Like it's just very, very cool to see what's able to be created. There's a lot of negative things going on in the world, right? Like we know that there always is. Like right now it might feel a little bit more, but at the end of the day, I mean, at least people that are around my age, I feel like it's always been that way. We've never really known life without a lot of hard stuff. And so going on in the world, I should say. And so the reason I want to share that with you is because do we all face uncertainty from time to time? Absolutely. Like, could we lose it all tomorrow? Sure. That's called life, right? But to see my clients and myself and other people I do business with thriving and being able to, or even just staying steady, right? Like that in itself, being able to stay steady and aligned is something to aspire to. Doesn't always have to be this giant uphill climb. Like honestly, that giant uphill climb gets exhausting and can often be the thing that causes you to spin your wheels. Because if that's all you're doing all the time, guess what? I have clients, some of these people I just mentioned, where one of the things I've had to teach them is how to slow down and look around, and acknowledge what they've done and what they've built. And because when we do that, energetically, especially when we do that, we attract more of it. We attract more of what we want. When we let ourselves be in a constant state of not enough and need more and blah, like it's chaotic, it's anxiety, it's not a place of gratitude, it's not a place of fulfillment. And the majority of the people I know who have wildly fulfilling lives, are they always hungry and like looking at opportunities? Sure. But they're so okay with where they are that if those opportunities didn't come, it would be okay. And so that's the thing I like to see. And that's one of those pieces of the puzzle that I find so enlightening, but also encouraging. So I wanted to share that with you because coaching is still going well. The brand is going well. The podcast is going well. We're going to vamp up some of the content, which I'm excited about. Yes, I'm still suffering with dry mouth, so there's that. I'm just still like chug water the whole time I'm doing an episode, but that's fine. I did get this cool new mug from Hydro Jug that doesn't leak, which is exciting. Not sponsored, but we'll plug them because it's not a joke. I thought it was a joke. It's not a joke. You guys look. No leak. Wouldn't it have been funny if it would have leaked though, right then? That'd have been my luck. Anyway, that's exciting to me when I'm walking in here to the studio and I have bags in my, like tons of bags, and like my other cup's like leaking all over me because it didn't have a lid that closed like that. Anyway, it's the little stuff, friends. It's the little stuff. So there's a huge thing that you guys probably won't see coming. Well, maybe some of the podcast listeners maybe see it coming, but this was not something I went looking for by any means. But in February, I started working as a consultant with the company that we film with, Punchline Productions. So we started filming in their over here in our studios with Ashley, and we were talking about systems, and they were learning a little bit more about what I do and how I help people create systems in their lives and be able to scale in a way that's sustainable and, really be able to optimize on people's skill sets. That's really one of my main focuses always in a company is like, okay, who's good at what and how can we optimize things so that they're able to focus on those pieces. Like, can we all only do things we love all day long? No, like that's not what it is. But if we can do that more often, that's always the goal. So I started out consulting, which I was just coming in once a week. And then it very quickly turned into, I have this thing, you guys, like, so it's a joke amongst my like really close inner circle people that somehow I very quickly become wildly involved in situations that I get presented with. And it's not even intentionally, it's just my brain works that way. It sees a situation, and if someone's willing, I'll help them sort it out. It's just kind of the way I naturally work. And that's what happened here. So a few months in, I realized that, I had taken on quite a significant role, and there's two owners and they were totally happy with letting me help and grateful. And it was very cool. And like one of the things I remember telling Tony about the situation was I was like, I've never worked with, and like, guys, don't take offense to this, but I've never worked with men who were willing to make changes and actually act on the things that I showed them or said to them, hey, I think this would be better, or hey, what if you change this? Like there was one day that I was like, hey, I don't think this is a right team member. Like this feels like more work than it needs to be. Doesn't feel like a good fit. In almost every coaching and consulting experience that I've had, people take a really long time to deal with those problems, and they let them become cancers in their companies a lot. And that's not what happened here. It was like, wow, okay, these people are open to what I have to say. Like, and it made me dive in more because it was different than what I'd ever experienced. You guys have heard me talk about a lot of my other work experiences and bosses and, some of the companies I've worked with and stuff. And it sucks. Like, let's be real. It is not fun when you can see the potential of a company and someone's not willing to have that conversation, or someone's not willing to basically, a lot of times it's put your pride in your pocket, and decide like, hey, what's the best move for me and my company? And Tony's watched me, for almost 15 years be in that situation. And so with this, it was fun for both of us. And I remember checking myself a lot, like, why are you doing this? Like, are you okay? Are you pushing yourself too hard? Like, what's going on? But what I was noticing is a lot of the days here, I didn't leave feeling like I had been hit by a truck like I would just even working in my office at home sometimes, are different things. Because the last company that I had come in as a business manager as an employee or a subcontractor, I did it from my house because he was a mobile company. And I would still, gosh, I would feel it was killing me. Like it was so hard. And this was years ago. So anyway, with that being said, like what I noticed was we started to become a pretty cool little pair, or like a threesome or whatever you want to call it, like a good little team where pieces of everybody's strengths were able to work, but I could see where if I had a little more control, I could help relieve some of the stressors. And I know from experience that if I can help relieve the stressors, which are things I'm naturally good at, like I don't know how to describe to other people the way that I do that, but it lights me up. And it's something that I know I can help other people, especially very creative people, because I'm creative, but in a different kind of way. And I don't know how you would describe it. I guess I'm creative in a very structured fashion per se. Maybe that's why crocheting is such a good thing for me, because you're counting and it all has to be done like in a certain way. And that's why it makes a beautiful thing. I don't know. But anyway, so it's a gift that I have. And I believe that everything happens for a reason. And so did I set out to buy into a production company and help produce podcasts? Was that my original plan? Absolutely not. Is that what I'm doing now? It is. And I'm happy about it. And it suits me well. And the reason that I figured this out, you guys know I'm really good for a good aha moment. So I was driving and I was like, oh my goodness, I know what it is. This is why it makes so much sense. Because not only because I've done online branding for 15 years and built my company completely from scratch on the internet. Like, I know how all those pieces work. I have the business background. But you guys know how much I love storytelling. I love storytelling so much. And what I realized, why I feel so passionate, I guess, or connected with these hosts and these shows and just the process, like some of them I've never even met yet because they don't film in studio. And it's like, with that, it's a creative process, but it's also a way that I have my hands in helping, dozens of people share their stories every week. Because whether it's the host or it's their guest or whatever, it's beautiful, because that I believe deep down inside of me that when we share our stories, it creates a positive ripple effect across the board. Because when we're telling stories, each person in the room is going to pick up on a different part of that story. Each person in the room is going to be impacted by a completely different part. I've told this before, but probably a long time ago, I'm going to tell you again. There's an example of this, and it was Elizabeth Gilbert. So she wrote Eat, Pray, Love and Big Magic, which is one of my all-time favorite books. It's like my favorite book to listen to on audio. I listen to it over and over and over again. It's like now I feel like I'm having a conversation with a friend when I listen to it. But in Big Magic, she talks about when she wrote Eat, Pray, Love, and it blew up and it became a movie and it was this whole thing. But before the movie came out, there was she was at a book signing and there was a whole line full of people, and these people were waiting and everybody's telling you their story and they're signing the thing. She's signing the books and she's taking pictures. And this one woman comes up and she was like, oh my God, Liz, I loved your book so much. It changed my life. And she was like, oh, that's great. Thank you. And then the woman said, that part where you were in an abusive relationship and your husband was physically abusive with you, and then you left him and then your whole life did blah, blah, blah. And Liz was like, oh my God, like that was not in the story. Like that did not happen. And if you've seen or read Eat, Pray, Love, there is no abuse. Like they weren't a great match, the husband and her, but he wasn't abusive to her. But because that woman's situation, she saw and heard from that story what she needed to see and hear from that story in that moment. And the whole reason, it gives me the goosey bumps thinking about it. The whole reason that Elizabeth Gilbert says that in Big Magic is to explain to you how you don't have control over how your story impacts other people. But if you have it inside of you, it feels like it needs to come out, you need to let it out, because you have no idea who it's going to reach and how it's going to change them or how it's going to impact them. And that's the thing, is the whole reason I have a brand. That's been the reason I have a brand since the get-go, is because I believed, and there was a few instances in my own brand and my own building of the business where people would come to me and tell me about things that changed their lives. Or there's one woman I will never forget. It was on one of my old mentors, Sean Whalen, back in the day when we worked together. On one of his posts, he had to ask, who, dead or alive, who would you have lunch with? And this woman put my name. I had never seen her name before. She'd never interacted on any of my content before. I had no idea who she was. And she didn't tag me in the post. One of my friends saw it and tagged me in the post. And because I was working with Sean, so I didn't pay, honestly, once I'm working with someone, I don't pay as much attention to their content because I'm talking to them or whatever. So I didn't even see it. And I got tagged in it. It was a life-changing moment for me, easily, because I spoke to the woman and we talked a lot after the fact, because of course I was completely blown away and honored. And I remember that moment, I always will, because it made me realize it really solidified that piece that I felt inside of me that I had convinced myself was true. But it solidified the fact that you never know who you're reaching and impacting and how you're helping them. You just never know. So if you have that story inside you and you want to share it, I will always help people and encourage people to do that. So working with the team here at Punchline and helping them do their magic, which is the production piece, right? We have a great team and good vision, and we've been able to, I mean, just even in the since February that I've been here, the quality of content has changed drastically. It's done nothing but improved and get smoother and better, and it's exciting. So to see that and to help them do their magic, to help the people that sit in these chairs get their words and their heart out to the world, whether it's entertaining or it's healing or it's, entrepreneur stories or it's talking about building businesses, whatever it is, that's big for me. And of course it fits. Like I remember hearing that and it was going, oh my God, okay, that's all I needed to realize right there. It's a perfect fit. I was sitting in my bed writing out this entire proposal because I was looking at things that I knew I could do and help with. And Tony came into the room and I was like, do you think I'm insane? Like for wanting to do this? And he was like, no, I think it's great. Cause he had never really had much to say about what I was doing there. He would see me leave and go for the first time in 2 years, like leave the house regularly to go to a workplace and do a day's long work and come home and not, be like vomiting. So it was, he didn't say anything. So I'm thinking, oh my God, is he like waiting for the other shoe to drop? Do you think I'm crazy? What's going on? But when instead he was just watching and going, holy crap, like, is she really, she's doing this. And what I realized is that what I've been doing is testing everything I was able to accomplish in my physical healing in a chair with yarn in my lap and doggies around me. I was able to test and see if I could do it out, if I could withstand that and make it happen in a different atmosphere. And otherwise I would have never known. And so I was able to do it in a safe place and in a place that didn't require me to be there 40 hours a week. I mean, I was working 40 hours a week on stuff at home, but I was doing it at home. And so I was able to kind of learn that. So I remember that night was like, do you think I'm crazy? And he sat down. So if you guys have ever met Tony, he doesn't sit, like you see him sit in an interview. He doesn't sit still for very long. So he sat down and he was like, here's how I see it. I've watched you help companies for a really long time. I've watched you be in their corner of the ring, cheering them on. I've seen you be behind the scenes. I've seen you be the manager. I've seen you be the person who builds it up and then they just don't do it. They walk away from it. There's a company that invested a lot of money in me. I built everything up and then he just never touched it again. Like it's not devastating to me by any means. It's not mine. Like it sucks. It's not fun, but it's not fun when you don't have the opportunity to see those things through when you're not in those positions. So he was like, here's how I see it. I've watched you do this for over a decade. I think it's about damn time that you have a chance to see it through and put all of this that you're so good at to use in something that you have skin in. So having skin in the game, because you could do it. And I think you deserve to see that you can do that because it matters. And I believe in you. And I believe it was like a great moment. What he doesn't realize, I did not expect that. And it's sometimes I'm still shocked by how that man loves me. It's wild. I'm just like, whoa, you really were paying attention. Like, okay, you're right. That is what's happening. And one of my very best business friends, especially so her and I met through business, Catherine, I brought her here to be on a few shows earlier in the year. And she told me the same thing. She was like, you've been preparing to do just this. It was just waiting to find the right place. And I do feel like this is a good place for me and I'm all in. Obviously, everybody knows it, but that's something I haven't told anybody yet. So I'm saying it here because I haven't talked about it yet. And there's a few reasons. I had to find my bearings, I had to get my place. And when you're injecting yourself into a already existing situation, it's tricky. And I'm sure that Sam, who's here filming, was probably annoyed with the number of times that I was like, are you sure you're okay if I do this? Like, I was thinking I would do this, but I want to make sure you're okay. Because I never wanted to overstep. I never wanted to make anybody think I was trying to reinvent anybody's wheel. And I took that part very seriously. And I still do and I always will. But as of the beginning of June, so it was Memorial Day weekend that I wrote that whole process. So it was like a 30-page thing. With a plan, a profitability plan. So I presented it to them the next week and they said yes. And so then I became a partial owner and am doing the CEO thing. So we all have our own section that we're managing. I'm overseeing the management of the moving parts, and then the other two, Sam and Corey, get to focus on what they're good at, which is huge because when they have the space to do what they're good at, they're exceptional at it. So it's been exciting to see, even just in a few weeks, how we've made those changes. I guess it's the middle of July now that we're filming this. So it's been 6 weeks or so, 6 or 7 weeks. It's been a wild ride here and there, but we're dealing with it. And I think it's been good. But the main wild thing about it all is that I'm okay physically. I haven't felt exceptionally well every single day, but I've been able to, like my coach said, titrate it and figure out and learn, yesterday was a little much. So tomorrow we're going to adjust XYZ thing. And that's the other thing, was what I was getting at when I was saying it's unique to find a group of people that are willing to hear you in your need to, and how you want to, or need to interact, because it's what you physically need and or mentally or emotionally need, and are willing to adjust accordingly. It's rare to find that anywhere. It's definitely rare to find that in work. It's also definitely rare to find that in men. Like, I'm not being rude, but I've done the male-dominated world for my entire adult life. And it just isn't normal. Like, you don't find that very often. And so that's the part where I remember, I'm like, okay, just trusting myself. I know my instincts, they're serious. They know what's up. Being able to trust that matters. So for me to be able to dive in has been fun. It's been kind of scary, but I trust in my abilities to see things through. And if I'm nothing, I am a follow througher, or whatever word you want to use for that. That is, I can't help myself. So we know that's going to happen. And I tell, like, Ashley Malin, for example, is my client. We started the show and she's like, what if it doesn't work? And I told her, the only way it's not going to work is if you quit. She was like, what? No, that's not true. I was like, it is, though. The only way, because she's got a great story. She has a great personality. She's charismatic. She's good on camera. She shows up. Like, those are pieces of the puzzle that we didn't have to worry about. And I told her, as long as you don't quit, this will work. And I remind her of that all the time. And that is so true in so many situations. So I know, curveball, guys, right? So I just kind of wanted to take this moment, and I thought it was actually great. Like I said, we set this up last week, and I thought, you know what? First time in this set, I'm going to tell you guys some life updates, tell you what's going on with me and Punchline. So we'll link them below. You guys, please go give the company a follow. And there's lots of different shows. So the cool thing about it with Punchline is we also operate the channel as a network. So underneath of that network is all of the shows that we produce. So you'll be able to see everything from a first responder show to a show about mental fortitude, to healing, to Dr. Molly James, to, oh gosh, I can't even think of them all, but we have a bunch. I could list them for 20 minutes, but if you go look, you're going to find shows with real people, with real stories, in various subjects. And that's the cool part, is that it's a lot of people that are supporting each other, but also doing their own thing. So check it out. I think you guys will like it. You know how much I always remind you that one of the best ways to support someone who's building an online business, especially, is to like, share, follow, comment. That's a free thing that you can do to help someone. And it gives them more support than you could imagine, because that's something that no matter how much ad spend money you have, you can't buy that organic reach. So as always with this episode, if you liked it, please make sure to comment below. Let us know what you think. Give this a share. Share it over to somebody that you think could benefit from this message. And if you have any questions for me, my email is below, and I'm always here for you. Thank you for listening, and until next time, see ya. Thank you for listening to Operation B, the podcast. To support this message and to support the show, please make sure that you like, follow, and share the podcast wherever you enjoy listening. And be sure to leave us a review on iTunes. Thank you for being here, and see you next time.